team that Michael currently oversees in Washington. Both are bad, and up until recently, both seemed hopeless. The Bulls, because no one wants to play there, and the Wizards due to their salary cap constraints. This weekend's strong performances aside, the long-term prognosis remains bleak in Chicago. But things are looking up a bit in Washington, thanks to MJ's wizardry.
Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win it!
This is a different challenge for me.
Bulls are going to win the NBA championship again!
Basketball's been my life. Always have been.
If that's the last image of Michael Jordan.
I know it. I know it inside and out because I've experienced it.
How magnificent is it?
So this is an easy transition for me.
Is this what Michael Jordan calls easy? By choosing a franchise that wasn't yet close to resembling Chicago's championship teams of the 90s, Jordan put his reputation on the line.
This move by Jordan really baffles me in that he is putting the Jordan mystique out on the table and has a good chance of losing it.
He has to find a way to get around whatever salary cap problem that they have, because they got to play 2-3 players that bring their team up there.
We have a lot of problems with the cap room.
When you have a long-term contract with some players that aren't living up to the terms of their contract or producing up to the level you want to produce to, I'm sure he's going to try and move people that aren't producing for the ball club.
But the Wizards' big three contracts, Juwan Howard, Rod Strickland, and Mitch Richmond, were deemed untradeable. And the losses piled up, as did the criticism that Jordan, still involved with as many endorsements, was an absentee owner.
It doesn't rattle me. It doesn't change what my perspectives are in terms of what I'm trying to do. As long as the players know who's in control, and then I'm on top, and I see every game. I know what they're doing. I know the decisions that are being made. People don't really understand my desire for the game. It's hard for me to sit around and see certain things happen that, without giving my emotions and showing my emotions publicly. I think those are things that I'd like to do privately.
At least somewhat privately.
L.A. down by a point. Odom's three-point try. Bingo!
After the Wizards blew a 19-point third-quarter lead to the Clippers on December 6th, Jordan delivered a locker room tongue-lashing, move that wasn't appreciated by some veterans. Jordan, though, made it clear that he wasn't happy with the current roster.
It's such a major adjustment that, now I'm upstairs instead of on the basketball court where I could influence a lot of the outcome of the game. Being upstairs, you got to influence that and pick the right people that have the same attitude that you had playing a game of basketball.
Michael cares about, winning the championship. And if I'm not getting the job done, they ship my butt right up out of here.
If you haven't heard already, we traded Juwan Howard.
By trading Howard and Calvin Booth to the Mavs for 5 players with shorter contracts, Jordan gave the Wizards long-term cap room and freedom from the dreaded luxury tax.
If we would have stayed pat, we'd have been, very close in terms of the luxury tax. But I think this has given us some room that we can make some pretty sound decisions, not worried about the luxury tax.
Exactly 1 week later, Jordan gave the Wizards even more flexibility, buying Rod Strickland out of his contract. Part of his $10 million deal will count against Washington next season, but combined with previous moves to rid the team of the contracts of Ike Austin, Tracy Murray, and Lorenzo Williams, his heiress has cleared about $41 million off the Wizards' books. The best player that ever lived is trying to establish himself as an equally competent executive, but the future remains uncertain.
The quest for Michael becomes, can he bring free agents to Washington with the cap money that he has?
We still got a long ways to go. I'm pretty sure you guys are going to stay on my ass until we start winning. So right now, we just made a step in the right direction, and, I've only kept you off my butt for a little while.
Team that Michael currently oversees in Washington. Both are bad, and up until recently, both seemed hopeless. The Bulls, because no one wants to play there, and the Wizards due to their salary cap constraints. This weekend's strong performances aside, the long-term...
From his locker room location, he had been playing so well. A Knicks career-high 27 points and 17 rebounds in his last game against the Celtics on Thursday. The officials, Jack Neese, Violet Palmer, and Greg Willard. Raptors controlling the opening tip. Alvin Williams finding Charles Oakley, who is open.
Well, Charles can make that medium-range jump shot, so if New York is going to trap that screen and roll, they're going to have to rotate to him. You know, Oak loves to shoot that little medium-range jump shot, especially against his team, and now Jeff Van Gundy immediately calling timeout.
The other night, as Allen Houston has tied the game at 2. Obviously, in an NBA game, a score of 6-2 or 10-4 is a long way to go, but you could see, and in watching Jeff Van Gundy, he knew there was a problem. Vince Carter from long range had to put on the line. It's a 2, and Toronto leads 4-2.
Game plan, force him to shoot jump shots, keep him off that baseline, push him to the middle, and run a double team at him.
Now Johnson passes on the 3. Shot clock down to 6. Sprewell off the fake. Carter went reeling to the floor. Sprewell leaping over Vince.
A positive sign. Allen Houston comes out, hits a jumper, and Sprewell again. Both of these guys have been struggling. They need to score points today.
Carter.
Wow, what a tough shot.
Now Sprewell using the pick. Try to hit Thomas with that pass. Alvin Williams, who's played very well in fourth quarters, taking over at the point guard position with the departure of Mark Jackson, but we'll see quite a bit of Chris Childs. Antonio Davis stripped. Nice play. Last touch by Davis.
You know how certain guys struggle against certain teams. Antonio Davis in the 2 games against New York this year, only 3 of 19, but he does have 28 rebounds, 18 in one of the games, 11 on the offensive board, so they must keep him off the boards, but he has really struggled to score.
That 18 rebound game, a career high for Antonio Davis. Jackson with a teardrop, able to beat Williams off the dribble.
Well, they want to get him in that post, and he's got the size on him. If they don't double team, you get the shot that he just got. If they do, he'll create a jump shot for one of his teammates.
And we're seeing the Raptors open up by firing from all angles from outside. That was last touch by the Knicks.
Excellent low post player in that position from a guard. You want to run a double team at him, but he loves to pass. So what do you want to do? Make him score?
Nice play. Oakley to the cutting corner, and the game is tied at 6. Talking about Antonio Davis, he is well rested for this afternoon's game. He was tossed on 2 technical fouls in the first quarter Friday night against the Nets. Larry Johnson way off. He's been struggling. He had the good game against the Boston Celtics Thursday night in New York. The previous game came up with 0s, no points, no rebounds. That's the game that saw Patrick Ewing return to the Garden with the Seattle Sonics, and very quiet again against the Bulls on Friday. Here's Davis showing the outside touch. Antonio Davis in particular was very upset with the trade of Mark Jackson. We saw Antonio earlier with Lewis Johnson on the pregame show, and he expressed the fact that it took a little while. It's still not quite over it. They go back to the days with the Indiana Pacers. Here's Johnson for 3. And it will be Toronto ball.
Well, he talked to us yesterday, and one thing he told me, he said, you know, when I was a younger player, Byron Scott was my mentor, and he sort of took me under his wing, and when he got traded, it was a devastating thing for me. He said, I sort of feel the same way about Mark. I know it's business. Now, remember, Antonio also took Al Harrington under his wing as a young player in Indiana. This is a very passionate guy.
Antonio also felt responsible for convincing Mark Jackson to sign here with Toronto. And here they're going well, and Oakley claimed that he was fouled by Johnson. Sprewell keeping it alive. It's a 3-on-1. Jackson. Johnson, the extra pass cost the Knicks botching the 3-on-1 break. Oakley leaves it the other way. Carter. Oh, way off.
He got hung in the air. It looked like he wanted to pass the ball. At the last moment, he had to shoot it.
And Jackson is struck. Good play by Williams. It will be Nick Ball. 27. This is their first 4-game win streak since back in November. Blocking foul called on Kurt Thomas, who had foul problems on Friday night and sat out down the stretch after picking up his 5th foul.
Oh, what a great pass.
Carter going back door. Williams, the Peterson able to save it. Peterson again. And they're able to reset.
You can really see they're running Mo Peterson off a lot of screens, trying to make Allen Houston work on the defensive end and try to tire him out.
Oakley. And Houston to the boards. A collision between Carter and Jackson as Jackson blocked Carter. Houston, yes.
When he comes off that screen, you cannot let him get that kind of look. You got to trap him, force him to give the basketball up. That's an 80% shot for Allen Houston if he gets that kind of look.
Game tied at 8. Oakley looking very active offensively and draws the foul. Davis, if he expected to get a shot from Charles Oakley, just a little love tap. Charles is a very intimidating player.
Yes, he is. He's not going to give you anything easy, and that all comes from those Pat Riley days. We see Mo Peterson spotting up from 3. Now that's his 15th 3 in his last 23 attempts. So as a starter, he's gotten off to a great rhythm and really has given them energy to start games.
And recently, he has really been able to break out, had that career-high 29 last week against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Sprewell for 3. Yes. Latrell Sprewell brings the Knicks within 1. 5.5 to go in this first quarter. Carter trying to use the pick. Davis wide open as a result.
So if you get that kind of penetration, 5 guys are going to be in the paint against Vince Carter. So if he'll find the open man, and Antonio Davis and Oakley can make that shot, they're going to have big days.
Raptors by 3. Here's Johnson. Oh, nice move by Larry Johnson. And you get the idea that surprised Charles Oakley.
You saw the little sly smile there from Charles, like, you can't make that shot.
I didn't know you had that in your repertoire.
That's right. So there's that open look again, the extra pass, and now Davis is going to get a layup.
Nice pass. Charles Oakley, a good passer, and he set it up. Raptors by 3, just under 5 remaining in the first.
Allen Houston has got to win this matchup big, Marv. He's got to attack Peterson and not just settle for jump shots.
Well, they clear it out for Larry Johnson. Pretty play. Johnson to the cutting Thomas.
I don't think you need to double team him on that. Larry Johnson, that's not a high percentage shot. He's a good passer. Oakley had him covered when Antonio Davis came over. Kurt Thomas went right to the front of the rim.
Raptors by 1. Carter with the step, then came stumbling, fires one up, and then the tip.
He is so quick on the second jump. He was in congestion, got it up on the basket, and the second jump before anybody else could get there. Defensive minded, so I think they've really improved their team.
Sprewell once again. He's been in a mini slump, but strong start. He now has 7 points, and the Raptors lead by 1. How about Keon Clark? You were at the game here Friday night. 7 block shots. He had 5 in 1 quarter, which is a Toronto franchise record.
He's so active. I don't like to compare him to anybody, but he's a little bit like Theo Ratliff. Long arms, very quick, ability to block shots, and this is one of the things that Toronto does. Second best in anybody in the NBA, Marv. They offensive rebound, and Antonio Davis is the 4th best offensive rebounder in the NBA.
Allen Houston for 3, way off.
I just think that's a bailout shot for Allen. I think he can get something better than that. He's too good a player.
And Carter drills the 3.
He's over 40% from out there, so he's expanded his game. If you don't guard him, he'll shoot it. If you get up on him, the powerful finish around the basket, either the score, the foul, or he'll get his teammates involved.
And Vince coming off a 14 for 28 performance the other night for 38 points. He had 4 from downtown. Toronto with the ball up 21-17, just under 3 to go in the first. There's that hesitation move by Carter. Jackson met by Williams. The Knicks, since the All-Star break, have won only 5 and lost 6. Sprewell and draws the foul.
The team won, so everything is on the perimeter. They will not get it done that way because they won't get to the free throw line.
Here's Carter with the step, trying to go glass and tripped up.
But not to be so excited that he makes a lot of careless turnovers. 13 turnovers in his first 2 games here.
Here's Sprewell. Oh, what a move by Latrell, who now has 10 points. So it's the Raptors 23 and the Knicks 20. Chris Childs signed as a free agent by the Knicks after 2 years with the Nets, preceded by 5 long years in the CBA. This was his 5th season with the Knicks before heading to Toronto. Carter puts the foul as 30 feet. Sprewell off the dribble.
Sprewell did his job. He pushed him to the middle. But that's where Mark Jackson has got to come over defensively and form the double team and force him to give the ball up. Mark Jackson slow getting there. Watch this now. Push him to the middle. Don't give him baseline. And you can see Jackson reaching. He does not get there soon enough. And
with the rebound. Childs pushing it. Oh, Childs wanted a fire from downtown. Oakley's pass ends up out of bounds. Miscommunication with Antonio Davis, who is in pain, hunched over.
Yeah, he's holding his left arm. I don't know if he cracked it with Kurt Thomas on that play, but the turnover playing 4-on-5. They're going to get a timeout from Toronto, so they're playing 4-on-5, and Sprewell drives it into a trap and turns it over, as Antonio Davis has been over here at half court, Marv. So Trainer will have to take a look at this. They get a break, they get the timeout, and they get the basketball back with the last shot of the quarter.
Coming up on 10 seconds remaining in the first. Raptors holding for a final shot. And you know that Chris Childs wants to be the guy taking it. Gives it up. This is Keon Clark.
Forward right now. You've got Glenn Rice playing as a power forward. Larry Johnson is your center.
And Clark goes at Johnson. Keon Clark, acquired from Denver in the deal involving Kevin Willis, Tracy Murray. Last year with the Nuggets, one of the league's most improved players. Noted for his defensive work, although Lenny Wilkins, to the delight of Clark, has actually encouraged him to shoot more. Houston. Murray with the rebound. Childs leads Clark. Broken up by Ward. A lot of energy on the floor for the Raptors.
Well, that's what, when you come from the bench, that's exactly what you'd like to be able to do. Put guys in the game who can up-tempo the game. And you look who's out there right now. You have Vince Carter. You've got Murray as a three-point shooter. Three aggressive, energetic guys. Childs, Jerome Williams, and Keon Clark.
Off the turnover by Ward. The ball back to the Raptors. They're up by 8, 7.5 remaining in this first half. Marv Albert, Doug Collins, Lewis Johnson from Air Canada Center. Jerome Williams looking to post up on a fella Harrington. And Carter was blocked by Harrington.
See those hustle plays, Marv, they break your spirit. You play great defense, you force a perimeter shot, and you can't get the rebound.
And you can see over this sequence how much the Knicks miss the presence of Marcus Camby, who is a high-energy player and a leaper. Nice pass. Thomas. It counts, and the foul. Playoffs this season. Strong move by Childs. And he wanted a foul call. Had some words with Violet Palmer. Childs, his first field goal. Raptors 36, the Knicks 30.
Jeff Van Gundy is a matchup coach. If it works, go back to it. This time the double team.
Thomas, foul, 4. There's Clark over Thomas. Knicks do not mind seeing Keon Clark take those side jump shots.
I agree with that.
I mentioned, though, Lenny Wilkins has been telling Keon, to his surprise, nice play, and Rice plays at home to bring the Knicks with him, too. He's been telling him, hey, it's all right to shoot the ball, but you wonder when that will stop. Yeah, I know he felt good about it because they put the clamps on him in Denver. Here's Murray. Oh, nice.
Now they want him to shoot it.
Yes. Tracy Murray in a second go-round with Toronto acquired in the deal with Keon Clark involving Kevin Willis. Spent the previous 4 years with the Wizards. 4.5 remaining in the first half. Sprewell had to pop it out. Shot clock at 5. Thomas. Harrington got to keep it alive. One-time Nick Chris Childs. Looks like he's settled down.
You know what happens sometimes? You get a little tired. You get on that adrenaline rush. You get a little tired, and you calm yourself down and play better basketball. There's those offensive rebounds once again.
Terrific job by Clark. Childs guarded by Sprewell. Chris Childs with his second field goal.
Now, one of the things New York has been able to do with this big lineup is they're getting a lot of double teams. And Marv, after living on the perimeter in that first period, they're starting to get the ball inside.
Toronto up by 6. And that's a
second NBA franchise.
We decided to name our NBA team the Vancouver Grizzlies.
Hopes were high as the Grizzlies made 2 solid draft picks in Sharif Abdur-Rahim and Mike Bibby. But Vancouver has yet to build a winner.
Absolutely no production whatsoever.
Way off as it was an air ball.
I think everybody would have to admit that this is a tough market to sell basketball. Oh, Canada.
Meanwhile in Toronto, 2 young superstars were emerging.
It's a family affair.
Tracy McGrady would turn in his Raptor uniform and sign with the Orlando Magic, leaving Vince to run the show in Toronto.
Vince Carter reverse. What planet is he from?
Carter recently became the Raptors' all-time leading scorer. He's almost single-handedly turned this hockey-crazed city into a place that is passionate about the NBA.
Well, basketball may be struggling in Vancouver, but it is thriving in Toronto.
He's going to stop it. Jeff is going to call a timeout. This is exactly the way they started the first period, with no energy. Their defensive concepts were poor. What they're trying to do is everything possible to get, Vince to want to stay here. In actuality, they have him for 2 more years. Under the old collective bargaining, he would be a free agent this year. Hopefully gets his shot blocked, but now there's a right of first refusal and an option year, so they'll pick both of those up, and so he'll be here for 2 years. But, you see what happened when McGrady leaves. It's sort of a domino effect on what happens, and you have to make a lot of deals.
It counts, and the foul. Jackson getting a piece of Peterson as the Raptors effectively run the break. Sprewell met by the double. Johnson with time for 3.
Now look at that.
Johnson now 2 of 6 from the field.
It's like a lottery ball there. You just hope that thing goes in if you're Jeff Van Gundy.
It's a good phrase for it. Davis. As Larry Johnson usually most effective from the corners with that downtown shot. It's a wild pass, but handled by Johnson for the reverse.
Well, he does not get many inside. Remember when he was at Charlotte, he was a power player, but the injuries have taken their toll. It's very difficult for him to elevate over bigger players. So what's happened, Marv? He's moved his game to the outside.
Oakley with some room. Sprewell. Trying to go glass, but came up short. Nice save by Davis. Raptors lead 56-49. We're early 3rd quarter. Marv Albert, Doug Collins, Lewis Johnson. Packed house here at Air Canada Center. Another settlement. Connor is able to spin and hit again. He has 17 points. Sprewell, Connor with the hustle to break it up, claiming that he deflected it off Sprewell.
He was starting to Cadillac it on the way back after he made that great play. He looked up and he saw Sprewell, and just a spurt got him back there just enough time to deflect this pass. You see, he looks over his shoulder, sees the long pass, and sort of like a defensive back closing on the ball, and he tips it away.
Kurt Thomas getting the roll, so Thomas has 12 points. The last road win took place in Miami February 4th, that wild overtime game, the Knicks beating the Heat. Game that saw Jimmy Buffett ejected from his seat by referee Joe Forte, and raging Parrot heads throughout the world. Since then, 6 straight losses on the road. Antonio Davis. Allen Houston able to shake off that shot he took to the knee, but he has missed 7 of his last 8 field goal attempts. Good play by Jackson, causing the traveling violation committed by Alvin Williams. Houston guarded by Peterson. Allen Houston has really cooled off. Good save by Thomas. Houston is on it. Broken up by Peterson. The Knicks with their 6th turnover in this 3rd quarter. Here's Carter. Kept alive. Carter. And a foul against the Knicks. Ella Harrington is back. Peterson. He's been off. foul is called.
Hard for him to finish in there. Marvy just didn't have the lift. The back injuries and all the things he suffered. He has to tease people in there now and trick them rather than power them.
Childs and Carter now in the backcourt. Davis, Oakley, Peterson up front. Oh, it's Peterson soaring for the offensive rebound.
You got to block out. I mean, the offensive rebounds, you know coming in, this is the second best offensive rebounding team in the NBA. They had 10 in the first half.
Glenn Rice, that's his second bucket, 6 points. Glenn incidentally underwent electro shockwave therapy on that sore left foot here in Toronto. Had that treatment back in January in Toronto. The treatment is not available in the United States.
Yeah, I guess he's really struggled with that plantar fasciitis. Another hustle play. And Toronto just beating him to loose balls right now. But getting back to Glenn Rice, I have to think that affects his shooting. As a shooter, when your legs are not right and you struggle, it affects every phase of your game, but mostly your shooting.
And he rarely practices.
So you have no timing.
Rice trying to put a move on Peterson. Peterson able to stop the dribble. Shot clock down to 4. Sprewell. Oh, what an adjustment to get it off. Harrington with the rebound. Harrington is stripped. Oakley tried to fake that it was a foul that was pulled down. Nice try by Charles. Loves to hit the floor. You coached him in Chicago.
I used to call him O-Cedar because he swept the floor all the time. He was out about 8 or 9 times a game.
And Mark Jackson called for the foul. Chris Childs trying to grab the ball out of Jackson's hands, which was not appreciated.
You know, Mark Jackson loves to bump and create contact to get space, and I don't see a whole lot there. They call the foul on Jackson, and then Childs wants to get the basketball back. Mark Jackson does not give it to him, so they cannot run the fast break.
Raptors up 66-59, down to 20 seconds to go in this third quarter. They double up on Carter. Here's Peterson giving it up. Good decision. Davis from Peterson.
When a team double teams you, if you will make the extra pass out of the double team, you'll get good shots. Mo Peterson, a great job there to find Antonio Davis.
Final seconds of the third. Sprewell fighting the double team. So that did not
on that perimeter if he goes to the backboard to double team.
Allen Houston, that's a 3 for Houston. So he's hit his last 3 shots after having his difficulties. Houston has 14. Raptors lead 86-72.
They got enough time for one more push, but again, Mark, they've got to rebound the basketball. Second shots have killed them.
Carter looks to set up on the step back. He was held.
Jump shots again from New York. Toronto getting to the free throw line the last 2 times.
Following today, the Knicks head back to New York. They hope to get back to New York, avoiding the pending snowstorm, and they're scheduled to play the Indiana Pacers on Tuesday. First of a back-to-back, and then in Indianapolis on Wednesday. 9-2 run by New York, cutting into what was once a 17-point advantage. Antonio Davis going at Kurt Thomas. Went to the left-hand hook and last touched by the Knicks.
Even if Toronto doesn't get the offensive rebound, they're crashing so hard that New York cannot get a clean rebound. That time Oakley with a hustle play. What you do, you give your team another 24 seconds on the shot clock.
Here's the double coming on Carter, too late. And last touch again by the Knicks. Cleveland, Atlanta, and New Jersey, they feel that a win today would be more of a measuring stick. Of course, you play what the schedule presents.
Into boards for Toronto. They've given themselves new shot clocks that just worn New York out inside.
Tracy Murray has checked back in for the Raptors. Carter, Oakley, Johnson went flying by. Oh, Charles Oakley able to line drive it home. He has 10 points. Raptors up by 12. switching hands on the dribble off the pressure by Childs. That is not a foul that the Raptors wanted to give.
Great penetration by Carter. What happens? You draw a defender, and Oak, since he can make that shot, you bite on the pump fake. And I love Oak. After he makes a great player there in Phoenix for so many years.
2.5 remaining in the fourth. That Raptors 17-point lead is now 8, and the Knicks desperately need a stop right here. Backdoor pass thrown by Childs, recovered by Carter, who was fouled by Sprewell. They appear to be looking to use the clock. Down to 10 on the 24. 5 on the shot clock. Davis, and he draws the foul. Just under a minute and a half remaining in the fourth. Alvin Williams back to handle Williams and Childs in the backcourt.
Give you 2 ball handlers. You got both of your point guards out there right now to just try to control the tempo of this game and not turn it over.
Charlie Ward is back. Rice switches out. Shot clock at 3. Williams. Johnson with the rebound. Knicks want to hurry. 1 minute remaining in this fourth quarter. Charlie Ward penetrates. A 6-point game.
2-possession game, still almost a minute to play.
This was a 17-point Toronto lead with 7 minutes, 15 seconds remaining in this fourth quarter. Down to 45 seconds. Again, they're playing the clock. Oakley not even looking for the shot. 5 seconds on the 24. Williams. And once again, an offensive rebound. No, it's stolen. Houston off the bad pass. Here's Ward. Passing on the 3. Rice. Oh, bad pass by Rice.
He wanted to shoot the ball at the last moment. Somebody from Toronto ran at him, and in order to not walk, he tried to pass the ball, and it results in a turnover.
96-88, Ward with the wild off-balance shot.
And Marv, as we close this game out today, you know, this will be the second straight game Mark Jackson will not have played in the fourth quarter. Now, Oakley can't run on that baseline. That's a turnover. You can only move after a made field goal, so you cannot run on that play, so that's a turnover. But Mark Jackson did not play in the fourth quarter against Chicago or today. Again, that's a stationary throw, and you cannot move. One of the problems with Mark Jackson is with his defense, if you get behind, you got to go to a defensive lineup, and you lose his presence at the end of games.
That was the case with the Pacers and at times with the Raptors. Rice not able to hit. Mark not playing with the same kind of energy he did in game 2-3 season. The Knicks have never won here at Air Canada Center. Raptors go to 33-27, hearing it from this capacity crowd. The Knicks go to 34-25, and they have
to kind of blend in and fit in. So, I mean, like I said, this team's going to win with me or without me.